8, 9,
10.
Yizzo.
Oh, we already know what the fuck time it is with that. Wow.
Yizzo.
Hello.
I was about to do it. I took the breath and I said I would not be being radically honest.
Yizzo.
Oh my God, is that it? Is that how I sound?
No, that's my version of it.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey girl. Hey girl, hey. Hey. Hey y'all. Hey listeners.
I'm not surprised by that response. It's full moon in Pisces. We're in Pisces season. This is the season of feelings, all of the feelings. I have been drowning. I'm not a fish the way Pisces are. I have been drowning in my feelings for the past, I don't know, 2 weeks now? 2 weeks? It's been a wild, really difficult, I don't know. I'm at a point where the way that I feel is I don't know if I can get out of this by myself. And I think I'm really going to look for a therapist again, which makes me spiral as well, because to find a therapist is like saying I'm going to find a husband. It's just not an easy thing to do. But just feeling super tender, feeling super just feeling like a lot of the places in my life, work, friendship, motherhood, relationships are requiring something of me that I don't have. I don't have the tool set, and I just need a lot of help in this moment. So if anybody has a therapist in the tri-state area that can help a sister out, that would be great. I think I'm really gonna look for myself. On a brighter note, an interesting note, in my class today, in my business class, shout out to 10KSB, Goldman Sachs, we had a negotiating class. So every single week you have a different module, and this week was all about negotiations. We had a Wharton teacher come in. Her name is Maury Terhapur. She came in and she's probably like 4 foot, just not even 5 foot, really slender, really small, petite. She looks like she could be Middle Eastern or something. She's like a dark, white looking woman. And what a powerhouse. What a beautiful balance of strength and vulnerability and intellect. And she came in and just coached us on how to negotiate. And she really debunked a lot of the myths about what negotiation is. Often we think of it as like this power struggle, as this place where you're strategizing, where you're withholding information. And she talked about actually how the basis of negotiation is always trust, and how transparency is really required. And she talked a lot about the mindset theory of you have to go in there thinking that you are going to get what you want. She talked about the different levels of, you have your aspirational goal, which is something crazy, kind of like your mid-tier, what you're willing to compromise on, and then your non-negotiable. But she was just talking about the power of the aspirational, the crazy, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get $1.5 million. Because when you set your place really, really high, your mid and then your low are kind of like correlated to that. If your bar is already low, then your mid and your low, like your bottom line, is going to be even lower. And we had this lesson in class. We did like a mock negotiation, and each of the different parties had different information about an antique bowl, and the value of the bowl was increasing every year. It went from 5,000 to 10,000, and the assumption is that it's worth 20,000. But not everybody had that information. We knew that it was 10,000, we knew that it was 5,000, we knew that it was going up. So like the possibility of how high you could negotiate that bowl to be was up to what you could set up in your mind. Mm-hmm. And so it was really interesting going in. Some people were the buyer and some people were the seller. And if you were the seller of that bowl and you were like, all right, it was 5,000, it was 10,000, and you made like your goal only $13,000, you just ended up cutting yourself in the end versus somebody that made their goal be $20,000. Then they had more room for bargaining. You understand what I'm saying? Or did I just say like a whole bunch of numbers to you?
Yeah, they're basically shoe high, so because they're going to
shoe high. But if you don't shoe high, normally you're always going to kind of like undersell yourself, and that was just, it was fascinating. And she was it was really great. We've had a lot of great teachers, but the power of having a teacher that like this is their life's purpose, you can see them living out their life's purpose, was really, really really wonderful. So shout out to that Wharton teacher, Maury Terhapur.
Are you butchering that thing?
I don't know. Maury Terhapur. Tahirapur.
I see your face and I'm like,
she works at Wharton.
Does she feel good about this?
Shout out to her.
No, shout out to that. Shout out to you being in class.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was good. How are you?
I too am feeling things. I don't want to get into it this episode. I really don't, because I'll fuck around and will not record. And we will just sit on this phone and cry. But I'm feeling things. I had it was crazy. I had such a productive, somewhat eventful weekend, and then I took Tuesday off because I was working on Monday. I recorded 3 podcasts on Monday with different people, which I'll get into. I took Tuesday off and it was going to be like my day to rest. And it was a shit show. The entire day was just one thing after the other. I ended up spending like $1,500 to $1,700 on just like random fuck shit. Yeah, it was like I took my car to get like its little maintenance, and then there was a whole bunch of bullshit with that, and then I had to take Ubers back and forth to and from there, which cost a whole bunch of money, and then that took forever, so I had to drive into the city, and then parking for 2 hours, and I wanted to leave my car at home and just meander in the city because I had stuff to do there. And everybody in New York knows you should not go into the city with the car unless you're going after 6 p.m., which I wasn't, but I would have missed my appointment. So I had to park in a lot. And guess how much it cost to park in a lot for 2 hours?
Oh, girl, $50 to $65.
Cost me $78 for 2 hours.
Oh, my God.
And I was just like, okay, everything's fine. And it was supposed to be me treating myself. My sister had purchased something really lovely for me a while back. And it was a gift certificate to Melaskin, which is a Black-owned skincare place. What do you call it? Spa, I guess. And she purchased a facial. And it's the same woman who has done our makeup on several occasions. She no longer does Keisha. Yeah, She no longer does makeup anymore. She has her own business now doing, she's an esthetician, and it was such a lovely space, lovely experience. But with all of the hoopla of the day, which I'm not even going to get into the other stuff, I was so tense and tight, and I had a great experience there. Ended up needing to spend additional money there. I never know what to tip people, so I'm just stressed, like at the end of it, like, oh God. And then of course there was like, oh, we recommend these products. I bought the products. By the time I got home, the products are gone. They're not in my purse. I checked my car. They're nowhere. Like, I have no idea where these things went. I'm just like at a loss, and they were expensive. I'm just like, okay, whatever. So these are all lessons. And then I got home and found out that my package room at my apartment building had been raided by people who have keys to my apartment building. And I've been back and forth all day today with the management company, with the super, telling them, no, you need to look at the cameras. I'm not crazy. I'm telling you that I had packages that were delivered, and they were just fighting me all day. I mean, in the middle of the workday, calling me. There's a language barrier. And I'm just really trying to communicate, like, please just look at the goddamn, like, look at the video. Well, they come upstairs around, like, I want to say 7:30 and knock on the door, and they're like, oh, we have bad news. And they show me this video. And these people have a fob, like the key to the building, which is concerning. And then I see the timestamp, and I came in maybe 15. I was on the phone with you. I came in like 15 minutes after they had left. So I'm like, oh, it's a great, no, I'm grateful for that. It scared me. It was like, fuck, like, the first thing I did was come upstairs and then go downstairs and check that package. And like, what if I would have walked in on them? What would have been their response? So it was like that whole thing. And then mad packages just stolen. So more money gone. It's just like, okay, well, fine. Some of them I can probably dispute, but there's a couple that I can't. So whatever. This is a lesson in letting go. It's like, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Let it go. I'm grateful that I'm in a position to be able to be fine, even with it all the nonsense. So, and that's not even all of it. So whatever. But this weekend, before all that nonsense, was a great weekend. I went to the Reed's live show. Shout out to Crystal and Fury. I don't call him that, but Fury. And it was amazing. It was at the Beacon Theater here in New York on the Upper West Side. Sold out show. Yes. I think there's like 3,000 seats. It's either 3,000 or 5,000. I can't remember. But they celebrated their 10-year anniversary. And it was beautiful to see. Crystal, I know much, much better than Fury. And I know that she doesn't take it in. She doesn't recognize like how important and pivotal she is to like history. Like at some point, they're going to talk about podcasts and black podcasters, and she's going to be mentioned. Yeah. He's going to be mentioned as, folks that spearheaded this thing. And I guess it's hard to recognize that when you're in it, but so proud of them. I'll talk about a funny moment a little later when we get to pop culture. But just big shout out to them. That room.
Yeah,
wow.
I saw clips and the standing ovation. I saw her tearing up too. It felt like she got it then. Yeah, she got it then. But before then, she hit me and was like, "Hey, are you coming this weekend or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Mandy." I was like, I hope that you're taking this in. I gave her that whole thing, and she said, cool. So you're good on a ticket. Like she just, and she admitted, like she doesn't sit back and really acknowledge who she is and what she's done. So I was very happy for my sister. And then in other news, I recorded on Monday, since that was a holiday. I recorded 2 episodes with the biracial brigade that are that's what they call it. That is so funny. Wait, who named it that? One of the
listeners.
The audience?
Yeah,
oh my
I think
God.
So. I think they did.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
With Bridget and Mandy for See the Thing Is. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, one of those episodes is out already. So make sure you check that out. I think it's called The Stakes Are High, which that makes sense that I'm on that episode, because that sounds like me. But that was a lot of fun. And then Kia was in town from Getting Grown with Jade, and they were recording at Full Court Studios, and I was there. So they were like, "Oh, do you want to stay on?" And so we had a great conversation around masculinity, and 3 women talking about masculinity, but really we were talking about how we police it and like checking ourselves and holding ourselves accountable for that. So that was a really great conversation, and big shout out to them because they're also doing both of those podcasts are doing amazing things. Yeah. So I was grateful to be on there running my mouth, child. And then for those folks who I have been getting DMs about this, and I didn't know if I was allowed to say it, but apparently I am. See, the thing is, they are going on tour. Their tour, by the time this comes out, they would have already done their LA show. But they do have shows in DC, Philly, and New York, in which I will be one of the friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. So make sure you get your tickets. They are available now. I think New York might be sold out. But I'll be there. I'll be on the road. All the biracials just hanging out, child. And
you're going to DC, Philly, and New York. All three. Mm-hmm. Girl, you're working. Go ahead. You on tour.
I'm doing something. I think that you're coming to Philly and also participating as well.
I didn't get an official.
I think I was supposed to say that, so I'm letting you know now. We'll talk later. I think. I'm not sure. In other news, next week I will not be on the podcast, but my ace boon coon Shanti is going to hold it down. I am in launch mode at work. I work at an ad agency, and so we're launching a new product. And so that means that there are shifts from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Shifts, yes. And so we will be working round the clock, which means I will not be available to record. And pray for me as we work around the clock and try to get this shit launched in a real way. I don't even know if it's gonna launch.
It will. Yes, it will. Now,
I wouldn't be mad if it didn't. It doesn't affect me, really. I wouldn't be mad if it was postponed, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't want it to be postponed like around the time that I'm out of town for the show. So whatever. Either way, our girl Nana from the Work Day podcast
Nana.
will be holding it down, who's a dear friend of mine. And Shanti's tried to steal her. So I'm looking forward to listening to those episodes. I'm sure it'll be a good old time. And you will finally have somebody on this podcast that knows big words, honey. Because Nana knows big words.
That ain't, I don't know if that's a compliment to me. It's just
I'm sorry.
You and I,
you've been talking your shit lately. I know you've been reading your books. I
have not been reading any books.
All right, well, you've been around some people talking their shit. So it is rubbing off. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Those are my updates.
Speaking of talking shit, why don't y'all talk some shit for us? Talk to us nice in the ways of rating, subscribing, or sharing the podcast. Let everybody know what you're listening to. We're always super excited on social media when we see you guys just freely just sharing an episode and sharing your comments and your feelings. We appreciate it. It also helps us greatly in getting us more views as well and more people to listen. So rate, subscribe, and share, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. And then, do you want to go into patrons? YouTube Patreon,
and you can also see us in real time. And today, we are both rocking our merch, which is on sale. We have very limited supplies left, damn near none.
We still have stuff left?
But we still have stuff left that you can go get it. And if you want to know what it is, that means that you're only listening to audio and you're not seeing the visual representation of our merch. That means you need to become a patron. Sign up today. $10. Listen to us. A shout out to the new patrons. Gerald. I was about to say Gerald. I was like,
that's okay.
Say that?
We could be that.
Gerald, could be Tara or Tara, Leela or Layla, Shaquila, Dominique. We appreciate y'all. Welcome to
Ashe.
Runaway Coast Patreon.
In addition to that, in the spirit of Black History Month, we have, I didn't know about this lady. I saw her on the social medias, and then I was like, wait, what? For real? And so I looked her up, and she is very impressive. This woman, Marianne Rogers Croak, is a vice president of engineering at Google. And she was previously the senior vice president of research and development at AT&T. She holds, get this, more than 200
brilliant black
patents.
Excellence. And she got money.
Meaning she has invented 200 things now, and she's been credited with said inventions. And she was inducted into...
Not the mouth snap.
Apologies. She was... They'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to review. That is obnoxious. I don't like that sound. She was inducted into the Women in Technology International Hall of Fame in 2013. She is one of the first 2 Black women to receive that honor, along with Patricia Bath. Shout out to you. You know who you are. And her invention allows users to make calls over the internet instead of a phone line.
Girl, fucked it up.
Yes. So today, the widespread use of like technology, like working remote and conferencing, she made all of that shit happen. And apparently there's like 1,000,000,001 things that you have to invent in order to make said thing happen. So she's developed this technology during... Oh, this is something else she did that was dope. She developed technology during the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And it revolutionized how people donate to charitable organizations when natural disasters occur. So by the time Hurricane Katrina happened, it wasn't ready yet, but she had perfected it by the time the earthquake in Haiti happened, and basically is responsible for facilitating more than 43 million donations collected via text.
Go
All
ahead,
of
girl.
that is shit that she imagined and created.
Croak. Let me see her. Mary, where you at, girl?
So she's basically laid the foundation for all digital networks, and I didn't know much about her, but on the social media, she's cute,
happens
right?
to be the cutest thing I've ever seen.
She's super cute.
Marion!
So she's on the social medias. If you are in like the STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics world, you know her. And I didn't. And I don't know if everybody else did. So make sure. She's not an ancestor. She's still living. Thank God. But, you know, she is absolutely a part of Black history. So shout out to her. Shout out to making it possible for me to work at home. Making it possible for us to record remotely.
Making it possible for that money she getting. Go ahead, Marion. Forget her fucking it up.
Yeah, and making it possible for folks to actually donate to worthy causes via text. So shout out to her. Anyway, let us take a break so that we can come back and give you all of the hot tops. That's what the read says, hot tops for today. Would you like to sing a little doodle?
After these messages, we'll be right back. I add instruments too, man.
Jazzed it up. Go ahead, girl. Duke Ellington. All right. Do we need a break or are we good?
Like in real life?
I don't know. I was always like, we're lying. We're not being radically honest. We should change that and say, let's pay some bills or something. That's what everybody says, though. I can't find. I want to shout out Yaba. Did you see Yaba was on Brene Brown's podcast?
I think that's old. She been on. She went on again, but she been on Brene. They're friends. They cried together.
They cried together?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see what episode it is, though. Probably is old because I'm looking on Spotify and I don't see it. All right, well, never mind.
Like 2022.
All right, well, forget it.
2020.
That's how you rather recycle that old shit for them new people following you. Good job by you, Yaba. All right. Ready?
Yes.
And we are back. So for hot shit this week, as y'all heard, Shanti and I are in our feelings because apparently it's like the fishies, Pisces people, right? They're fish, right?
Do you know many Pisces?
I don't think I know one Pisces.
I don't think you do.
Is that okay?
Wow.
I was in my feelings, especially last night. Oh my God. I would like to shout out my friend. He's at this point one of my best friends, Black, he caught me. I don't even think you've seen me like this, Shanti. Just a hysterical, blubbering mess. Inconsolable, irrational.
Were you guys together or were you on the phone?
We were on the phone, and he was just trying to explain some shit to me, and I thought that he was saying that he didn't want to be my friend anymore, and I lost my mind. I lost it. I was snotting to the point where I was snotting on the clothing that I had on, like purposely taking my shirt or what I was wearing and snotting in it because I couldn't reel it in. And I think it was also a release from the day that was shit. But he wasn't even saying
He said, like, I said I'm gonna call you back.
No, it wasn't like that. But I lost my mind. And so he actually did need to call me back because he was getting a call. And I was like, okay, are you really going to call me back though? Is everything okay? And he was like, girl, get off my phone. And so I then did what any woman does or any person does, any non-binary royal human, not to be confused with king or queen. I laid in the bed, lifeless, with the phone in my hand and took to Instagram.
Distracted yourself. Numb it all.
Numb.
Scroll.
Numb the pain. Scroll. I was not successful. I landed on the good news movement. Do you know the good news movement?
Yes.
Well. I went through the rabbit hole of the good news movement. Now, usually
that's a good place to get sucked into.
It really is. And I saw a post. First of all, for those of you that don't know, the good news movement, they were around before COVID, before the pandemic, but they really took off during, and it's not called the good news movement. It's called good news _movement. Fucking black people just saying shit. But they only post good news. And so often the news is filled with nothing but negativity. And so they post these really heartfelt stories from all over the world that can really get you going. And one that got me going was this students raised nearly $50,000 for their 80-year-old janitor after he was forced out of retirement to work due to his rent being increased. And so...
Oh, getting forced out of retirement.
Out.
All right.
Not in. Out. So this man was shuffling around the hallways. These kids felt, instead of making fun of him, which most awful, badass kids would, projecting. He, said he had never been a janitor before, but he had to pay his way. He didn't ask anybody for a handout. He didn't. And you could see that, like, it looked like he could get hurt on the job. Like, there's just no way he should have been working. 80 years old. I'm sure that you deserve rest at some point, sir.
Child.
And so these kids raised this money, and the good news movement got wind of it, posted it on their page, and they raised even more money. And within like 2 hours, the goal was $80,000. I think they're up to $150,000.
Yes, hallelujah. Let that man rest.
And so now he's not only going to be able to retire, but he's going to be able to hopefully take a little vacation as well. So that really warmed my heart. It made me so sad that he was even in a position to have to do that, this cruel ass country. But this is the good news movement. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. And then finally, there was a really heartwarming video of a man in Turkey, obviously on a gurney. He was rescued from the rubble, and there's video footage of him calling his family, calling his brother for the first time. And so you hear his brother on speakerphone. You can see his face, and his brother is just as hysterical as I was on the phone, more. And just like weeping to hear that his brother is alive. He's like, are you sure? Is your family this family? And then the brother's like, yes, my brother, this is your brother. I'm here. I'm okay. They're taking me to this hospital.
He was mad calm. I saw that.
He was so calm. I think he's probably just, that must be the most overwhelming shit in the world. Do you know how many times he probably thought he was going to die? Because it was days and days later.
11 days, child.
Listen, if you want to cry, a good cry, a cry that makes you, that basically restores your faith in humanity, go over to goodnews_movement and get your feelings out, please. And just feel restored and rejuvenated. If you're already sad, well, you're going to be happy, but you're going to be crying too, Jack. So it was a time.
Speaking of crying, The Last of Us is the shit you didn't know you needed. I'm obsessed with this television show. I was very, very resistant to watching it.
Why?
Because I had just watched Game of Thrones, and then Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Mormont, the last standing Mormont girl.
Lyanna Mormont.
Lyanna and the nigga from Dorne. What was his name?
Oh my God!
I don't know none of their names.
What was his name? The Prince of Dorne. What was it? What was his name? You just made me forget.
I don't know. But anyway, they're both in it, and I was like, ugh. For some reason, I was so resistant to watching it.
Sorry.
Let me tell
Martell.
you. Oberyn, yeah, no. I was like, I don't want to see them again. I just watched them. But a delight. Let me tell you something. I'm really
on episode
enjoy
2.
zombie. What? You're on episode 2?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It just gets better. It just, that episode 2 is nothing. Girl, keep going. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
I really enjoy zombie shows and movies. I'm rarely grossed out by zombies. These zombies, even thinking about it right now, makes my head itch because of basically the virus has passed through,
Don't tell me, because I'm not there on how it's passed yet.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it's how they biting, because I saw the woman.
I can't say anything to any of you guys, but it makes my skin crawl. And again, I love the way, similar to The Walking Dead, it's not actually the zombies that fuck shit up. It's us humans and our inability to regulate our emotions. And the zombies are just like the backdrop of the show, but the humans and the shit show that we are, and the terror and the beauty that we are. Can't wait for you to watch this and cry to me. Talk about crying.
Somebody at work said that this was like a dystopian call to action for our humanity. That's how they described it, and I was like, oh. I'm into it. Let's go.
I haven't got to the call of humanity yet. I'm seeing you definitely see yourself in it.
Okay. What episode are you on?
Episode 6.
Oh, you're
now I'm at the edge of my seat. Yeah, like Sunday cannot come quick enough. I'm hooked. And what's really amazing is that The Last of Us is from a video game. I
heard that.
So they're following it very, very religiously. Like there's some scenes in it that are in the video game that they have to do in the show, which is shout out to these video games.
When I heard that, I was like, wait, video games have storylines?
Shout out
Sonic
to
the Hedgehog. Get me wrong, child. That was the only video game I had.
That was my shit.
Right?
Well, anyway.
Speaking of zombies, politics as usual. I'm about to bring it down.
Come on with the
where I'm going
segues.
With this?
Let's go.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
This is like Beyonce's album. The way we sliding into the next fucking topic. Speaking of zombies, hit it with it. Go ahead.
There's a new drug making its rounds, and it originated in Philly, sadly. The drug is called Trank. And it's really... Yes, sadly. I don't know how to say the proper term for this. Say that, Shanti. XYLAZINE.
Xylazine. Xylazine?
Xylazine? Yeah, Xylazine. Anyway, it's called Trank on the street. And the actual base of the drug is a veterinary tranquilizer approved in the U.S. for cows and horses. And it's now flooding the drug market, where drug dealers are cutting it with everything from cocaine to heroin to fentanyl. Philadelphia is unfortunately our home, and it is the epicenter for this. And it's now linked to a third of all overdose deaths there, from 2%. Well, there were 2% it was 2% in 2015. Now it's a third. So it's growing. It's basically what it's saying. And people are traveling from all over the world to come to Philadelphia for it. That's the other thing. Like, not all over the country. Apparently, the fucking world.
Oh, Philadelphia is the mecca for a lot of drugs.
A lot. That Kensington area is like, it's so sad. And it reminds me of The Wire, the greatest show on earth. It reminds me of that, of Amsterdam. Yeah. Right? Of where, like, the police just let it be. Like, when you remember when we were driving down and what we saw, and it felt like zombies. But this actually makes people take on a zombie-like physicality. Not the folks that are leaning. We know the folks that are leaning. They are fidgeting and doing stuff like that. It is so scary. Have you seen this?
The scariest thing is that the actual
I'm about to get into it.
Eaten away.
I'm about to get into it. So patients suffer damage to their blood vessels that leads to gaping wounds appearing on their bodies. Some are left unable to walk, or they need amputations because the wounds are so severe, cutting right down to the bone.
It's eating them alive.
It's eating them alive. And there's no approved antidote for these overdoses. Instead, all medical professionals can do is provide treatment of easing the symptoms. Because I don't remember what the drug is that they use to, like, combat, what is it? Fuck. Heroin? They give you another drug to combat, I think it's a heroin?
Yeah, another opioid substitute.
Right. Yeah. That doesn't work on this at all. Mm. And so you have these people, I saw
the withdrawal is like horrible. Unbearable.
Horrible. So what they're finding is that because the withdrawal is that horrible, people are going to get more and more of it because they can't deal with the pain of it eating their flesh. But when they get more of it, it just eats more of their flesh, but at least in the moment numbs them. It is horrific. It is so sad. And
let me tell you something. I really feel in a couple of years there's going to be a big conspiracy, or we're going to have our version of The Wire or something, because somebody, I don't know the kingpin, I don't know how the drugs work, but people are making so much money over here. Yeah. Not this being the mecca of drugs. Like, it's terrible. It's awful for the addicts. It's awful for the city have to manage it, but, like, the drug dealers, the providers, the connections, that whole underbelly of the Philadelphia politics is real, and it's thriving, and they're making so much money, child. Yeah. And niggas are dying. The city's on fire. People are getting killed. It's just, God help us. Philadelphia.
So, something to definitely look out for, something to definitely stay away from. I had never heard of it until today. But if anybody offers you this shit, if anybody's like, oh, just run the other fucking way. This is not anything to play with. This is it literally looks like World War Z. And the mannerisms of the folks are like the people from they weren't the people, but the army of the dead from Game of Thrones. That's how they look.
They look like that, and they also fall out. They're unconscious for an hour. So you know how some people dip? They are out for an hour.
Oh, they really fall.
They fall out. They're collapsed. So that means that they are vulnerable to rape, to abuse, to robbery, to you're just out in the middle of the street in like a in a very dangerous area. So the amount of, what you're vulnerable to is just, it's wild. It's wild. Meanwhile, they're trying to gentrify that area, Kensington. Right.
Meanwhile, they're selling homes over there for $400,000, $350,000, and people are like, "Excuse me."
It can make sense.
Prayers up, yo. So
prayers up to all the parents around the world, in particular areas. Actually, there's a study that's circulating from 2021 showing 42 countries and their level of parental burnout. And what they're realizing, the higher the sense of individualism in the country, the higher the burnout. So it seems like the Western standards of parenting have just increased. You know, everybody's woke, everybody's trying to heal generations of trauma, everybody's, focused on therapy and being more just emotionally aware as a parent. That's definitely what you're focusing on as well. And what ends up happening is that there's just this child-centered, this emotionally driven relationship that most parents don't have the capacity for if you're doing this shit by yourself. So they did checked out a number of countries, and in the West, the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and the Netherlands have the highest levels of burnout, whereas Thailand, China, and Ecuador do not. They also have, again, less society is less individualized. There's a lot more community. There's a lot more intergenerational living. There's a whole graph of this, and Africa is not even on that map.
Interesting.
Which I'm so...
Well, how are they collecting this data as well?
I don't know how they're collecting the data. I can show you the link, but I guess they're just taking parents and asking them if they're burnt out, and then having some type of measurement of what individualism means and what the opposite of that, more community-driven life means. But I found it really, really interesting that Africa wasn't even...
I find it to be bullshit. There's no way that parents over there ain't burnt the fuck out too. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know.
How are you collecting this information, and also what is the gauge? How are we defining burnout? What does that look like?
I bet they have.
And are people being honest about? There's just so many factors. I don't know.
I definitely don't think the idea of parental burnout and individualism is a made up idea. I feel like it takes a village to raise a child, and the less community-centered practices that the community has or the country has, you're definitely going to have exhausted parents versus, places where it's we all taking care of this kid. Again, we all live together. Grandmom lives together. To me, it makes perfect sense. I don't know the exact scientific measurements that they have, but I guess for folks that are experiencing this, who can correlate that to individualism, I know I can. It's just what do you do? I feel like they're dropping the ball of being aware of your child's emotional well-being, aware of their trying to create a life that feels really centered around them. Doesn't feel crazy, but do you stop doing that? How do you get your community involved if you're busy as hell? If they're just as busy, it just kind of feels like a rock in a hard place if that's not already embedded culturally. I know a lot of folks are making it, doing what they have to do, especially folks that don't have a lot of money. Everybody just shows up the way they need to, but it's just what's the alternative? Move to China, Thailand? No. What do you do? I don't know.
Me neither. I don't. As the resident non-parent,
it's still community. It's still. I think that's it. It's I'm not a parent, so I don't have nothing to do with it. It's
I don't think I don't have anything to do with it. I think that
what to do.
I think I try as hard as possible to support my friends with parents, with children, and with
It's hard.
parents.
You're far away. Like, what can you do?
Well, for you, but I have other friends who have children. I don't know. I don't know if you want to personalize this, but like you do have folks that, are closer than me. You do have the Amandas and the people like that. And I wish that I can't tell you about your schedule. And I hesitate to offer my 2 cents there because I just feel like I might oversimplify it if I say something like, well, why don't you help? Why don't you go to Amanda's? Why doesn't Amanda take the baby sometimes or take Joe sometimes? Or, there's also dynamics of Joe's older now and Amanda's got 2 boys. And so does that work? And so I don't know, like, I don't want to oversimplify it. I think that building community and having your tribe in general is important. And so, you have your mom, you have your sister. I don't know if you take advantage of Katia. I don't know. I hope that you will. You have your man.
I have to. At this point, it's just
like you have her dad. And soon enough, Jolie will not want to be around you.
That, I feel like that's when she needs. That's when she needs the people the most.
Yes, it's
when she needs the people the most to watch over her, to guide her, and to spend time with her rather than just let go of the reins. Like, she all right.
And also, as she starts to branch out, I think something that's really important, and we were talking about this a little bit with my godson, of knowing who she's hanging out with, forming a relationship with their parents. They don't have to be your best friends, but I always talk about how my dad, whenever I wanted to hang out with somebody, I don't know why I can't speak today. He had to go to their house first. And when he walked in, or when we went to their house, he would always ask to use the bathroom because he wanted to see the inside of the house. He wanted to see how the people were living. And I know that he went through a couple medicine cabinets in his day.
Oh.
He was that dad. He was like, oh, can I use your bathroom? And I knew what he was doing. It was so frustrating. He wanted to see the neighborhood. He wanted to, size folks up and understand, like, okay, not stereotype them, but just get a feel for what their environment is.
Yeah. I think
that's going to be really important as she gets older.
I think that it needs to be similar to what you just said, creating a map of people that you can turn to and rely on. And I think I always, because I'm stuck in this individualistic hellscape of being like, my help is in the daily, like, food, pickup, laundry, homework. It's like in the grind of the week that I'm like, oh, I can't ask this person for help, or they're already dealing with their own stuff, versus a weekend where there's a lot more space. So just pushing the boundaries or trying to figure out how it could be people that also have kids, how we could rotate that kind of responsibility so it's not all just on.
What if you and Amanda, once every 2 weeks, everybody got dinner together, maybe you bring some food over and you also bring your clothes and you wash your clothes there.
Yeah, that's the type of shit that would be such a relief.
Yeah.
And be such a...
You don't have to go to the laundromat.
Just a relief. Just such a relief. But I always feel like, again, because I'm stuck in the spiral of like, you can't do that on the weekend. They got their own shit going on. And
Girl,
it's just hard. It's just...
But why do you have to do it on a weekend? Why couldn't you do that?
No, I can't. It's hard to do it on the week, again, because I don't want to get in the weeds. She gets home at 4:30. She has to be to bed at 9. It takes an hour to go to Amanda's and back. It's just like she has math. We have homework.
She has math.
She just has work to do.
See, that's why I don't want to oversimplify. But maybe there's one Friday night.
Or it's just somebody that's closer, just trying to build that, having people come here that don't have kids to handle some of those things or whatever. But sitting down and mapping it out feels like, or just writing down what the possibilities could be, feels closer than just...
Yeah, you got a whole man.
Being burnt the fuck out. So
come help with this math real quick, King.
Please.
Well, in other news, which I I think that you're going to find interesting because you bring this up quite a bit. Biden visits Ukraine in a surprise visit, seemingly to emphasize his support of Ukraine, especially on the heels of the Republican infighting that's happening around the money and the aid that we are giving to Ukraine. Some Republicans believe that the aid is far too much, and 30% of Americans agree with that. Not just Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike. Some Republicans believe that it is necessary, the aid, to prevent Putin from invading more countries. I would also add Democrats to that as well. They feel like that it's necessary because if Putin continues to invade countries, or if he successfully invades Ukraine and takes that over, that just empowers him more. And what is to stop him from doing that to additional countries, as the rest of the world, the United Nations and the U.S. stand by and watch? They feel that that will embolden Putin and also China. And so they feel like that would then lead to a World War III. On the other hand, side of that, folks feel like, well, if we keep up with this proxy war that we are at war, folks. We've said this before. We are fighting a war. We are just not using American lives to do it, but we're using American taxpayer dollars. If we continue this route, it will inevitably lead to World War III, because why would Russia continue to stand by as we fund this war against them? Child, Kevin McCarthy, that is the Speaker of the House, Republican Speaker of the House, he has to manage the Marjorie Taylor Greens who are like, she is insane. She said today that the red states should just absolve themselves of the union but she doesn't want civil war. I was like, bitch, do you know a civil what? Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, she is very much against us continuing to send funds to Ukraine, which is not the most insane idea. A lot of people have this idea. But he is kind of tiptoeing on the fence, and he's saying that he feels we should continue to help because he understands the importance of making sure that Russia doesn't become more powerful and more dominant without any penalty, but we should not continue to help with a blank check. And so that's interesting because it's like, well, then how much do you give? When do you know when to stop? Folks in line with sending the aid feel that the backlash received ignores the very practical, quote unquote, practical benefits of the message of sending aid to Ukraine, and how strategically it shows like America. See, it's tricky. For some people, it shows America being the moral, the high ground in all this, or attempting to be that to the world. In other ways, they feel like it shows and highlights America's capability to step in and resolve. They say that it ignores the extent to which such aid has put practical limits on Putin's ambitions to restore a greater Russia, and has shown other states that they can trust the U.S. to compete with China. They also say that it ignores the extent to which such aid helps rebuild and strengthen the role America plays as the de facto leader of the West and other democratic states. And lastly, it ignores the degree to which it has revitalized NATO and the European defense effort. That is a quote from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. So I asked, dear friend, what are your thoughts? Should we be sending money to Ukraine? If so, how much? Should we stop? Is World War III upon us? Can we prevent it in any way?
I think that's the question, right? Is this the tipping point, and is this the egg that we don't want to crack open, because this is what's going to cause, if Ukraine is defeated, then World War III will break out? Is it really this?
I mean,
is it
North
this?
Korea tested 3 missiles, just so you know, over the weekend as well. North Korea tested 3 missiles, and they have missile capabilities now. They can go out of orbit and then back into the orbit and hit the U.S. They have confirmed that they now have that capability. It's getting tricky.
I don't know. I don't know that this is what is going to hold back. There's going to be a World War III. I don't know if Ukraine is the camel that will break its back. I don't know. Weird shit's going on with China in this moment. I feel like China's flexing and figuring shit out.
And they're in cahoots with Russia.
In cahoots with Russia. And I don't want to fuck with China or Russia. I just don't like that idea.
So then,
I don't know. I feel like this requires a real look at what America is spending all its money on. You know, like what is America spending majority of its money on? If we had like a budget that we could see all of these things, maybe it is public, but it just feels. I just don't trust America in a lot of ways and the things that it supports, especially in the name of democracy and help and harmony and peace and helping the underdog. I don't often trust that. I feel like the UK, Germany, Canada, a lot of places are also supporting this. So
definitely,
it's a
NATO.
It's a big political. I think it has huge political consequence, and I don't want to in any way dismiss that. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I could say wholeheartedly that I think I lean, of course, more towards not supporting it, but my reasons for not supporting it don't fit in with the strategy that is connected to America and it's keeping its power. You know what I mean? Like if America's going to keep its power and do what it does, it keeps supporting Ukraine. It keeps those other countries in check. It stays, in alliance with NATO, but is it sustainable? Is it going to lead to real peace in the long run?
I don't think peace is what the goal is. I meditated on this today and was thinking like, well, if they pulled their resources, which very well may happen, you have to understand, because the Republicans are in control of the House. If they don't vote to approve this, and it's a slim minority within the Republican Party right now, but who are opposing the aid, but as Americans deal with this recession and grow more and more exhausted from providing said aid, the Republicans may block further aid in the coming future. And so I meditated on that and was just like, well, shit, if that happens, right, and Russia does successfully take over Ukraine, which they could very well just be waiting for the U.S. to stop funding Ukraine. What are the implications of that internationally? What is to stop them from invading the next place and the next place and the next place? And it was concerning to me. That was concerning to me as well. I think some of the frustration, or a lot of the frustration, is like, well, these are my taxpayer dollars, and why does it always have to be the U.S. that steps in? Because, a lot of the other countries within NATO that are helping, and, they are dealing with far more severe financial implications of this war, because so much of their money, so much of their resources were tied into Russia. And as a result, they're dealing with inflation that's even higher than ours. And so they're like, well, we can't give more. We don't even have it to give more. And,
aren't we defaulting on our...
Oh, we're not defaulting on them yet. We are always, the debt ceiling is the debt ceiling, child. But we're still out here spending money. making the world go round because we have the largest military. I don't know. I think this is where, again, we're quick to say, oh, more money's going to Ukraine. My whole point, I didn't bring this up for us to have a real answer. It's really just to highlight how complicated this is. And so when I see it oversimplified or hear it oversimplified in conversation, it's a jarring a little bit. It's like, international affairs is wildly complex. And yes, that is absolutely true that we are spending all of this money overseas. And we have folks in Kensington that are zombies, right? Like, I get the frustration, fucking valid. In addition to that, the implications of Russia going into Ukraine, invading it, taking it over, and restoring, their power is terrifying as well. So, more good news from Around the Way Curls.
You will see.
Let's skip this next one. I do want to say that Facebook and IG are doing fuck shit, but we are bumping our gums. So let's skip that, and we'll come back to that at another time. They're doing fuck shit with their new subscription service and verification and all this jazz, where you're gonna pay for to be verified, like Twitter. Oh, God. Anyway, pop culture. Do we want to talk about the Roots lineup quickly? At all? Because I saw it and I was like, oh, I ain't mad.
Excited about it?
I don't know if I'm going, but they have the Roots picnic in Philadelphia, not close to Kensington, so you can come have a good time. They announced their lineup June 2nd through the 4th. Miss Lauryn Hill is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Miss Education of Lauryn Hill and is slated to perform. She's a headliner, which if somebody don't buy her masters back before this fucking concert so she could sing them songs at a regular tempo.
Exactly. I don't want to hear it. Hype at all. Like maybe Shanti 10 years ago, but
let me tell you something. I've seen her sing this shit fast. It ain't it. But then they also have Diddy and the Roots, which I would like to hear the Roots play.
To see that. I would love to see that.
And have him Diddy bopping around the stage. Little Uzi Vert, which of course I just want to rock. That makes sense. Dave Chappelle is going to be there on stage. Interesting. Ari Lennox, Lucky Day, Eve. I was hype boots about Eve. Busta, Glorilla, Maverick City, City Girls. City Girls make sense. Diddy will be in the building, so okay. Isley Brothers and Roy Ayers. That is huge. Half these people I don't know. Saucy Santana, I do know. DJ Drama, I don't know. Uncle Waffles. Adam Blackstone with Mary Mary and Coco Jones. Coco Jones was who we were talking about last week, and we didn't know her name. And then the Baller Alert. So basically, the Roots is trying to get... They said, how can we publicize this more? Baller Alert is doing some shit where they're presenting...
Baller Alert?
Baller Alert is the big page on IG, the brand Baller Alert. It's like the shade room.
Okay.
But what really got me going was the state property reunion.
You are such a Negro.
I said, Beanie, Freeway, Young Guns, Petey. I was like, how you say his name? I forgot. What's his face in Sparks? How you say that shit? I'm old.
I don't know. I didn't click the link. I'm sorry,
of course she did. She left me hanging, y'all. Little Brother will also be there, which is cool. DJ Diamond
great.
Cuts with her yelling ass. It'll just be a good time. And then on the podcast stage, which Charlemagne the God, Academics, that's that dude in the basement I can't stand.
What?
That's the one. You know what? He just always has some old mess to say that's just contrary, and He stands 10 toes down in it, but he does it on Twitch, I think, and so it looks like he's just in his mom's basement talking shit. Angela Yee with Lip Service, Questlove Supreme. Don't call me white girl Mona.
Yes, I want to go there. I want to see that. Hopefully, I can vend there. That's my hope. God damn it! And the merch. Those t-shirts are hot. I actually kind of like those t-shirts.
Really? So shout out to the Roots. I hope that it is a success. I hope that the podcast stage is in a different location. And I hope they sell out and have a grand old time. And I hope the state property
they ain't moving
reunion.
that podcast, girl.
Huh?
They ain't moving that.
Well, they bringing the big guns out.
Stage.
So I will hope that, that they work something out to make it a little more accessible. What I will say, speaking of podcasts, Crystal from the Read revealed a sad truth about my dating life during her live show. It was unexpected. I was sitting there minding my business, and all of a sudden, Crystal announced to 3,000 people and all her listeners, apparently this shit's going to air, that Antoinette, and she said my name, she's like, where is she? And I blew her a kiss, all hype, like, oh, I'm so proud of you. She said, she is my straight coach, which I didn't know I was, because we play around. I say I'm gay, she says she's straight. Neither one is real. And I revealed to her, I sent her a video of a woman who Crystal referred to as a stud, who was in the cold, freezing cold, at the gas station, pumping gas, questioning why she was pumping gas because they're both women. Mm-hmm. And I sent it to Crystal and I said, oh, gender norms is it's getting tricky. Crystal, who pumps the gas? And Crystal said, Antoinette, no dyke has ever made me pump gas a day in my life. And I said, for real? I got to be gay because these Negroes have had me pumping gas all the time.
All the time.
All the time. And she went on to tell everybody that I'm out here pumping my own gas on dates. And I said, God damn it.
Wait a minute now. Dates?
When am I really ever on a date? But
just niggas that you were loving on you,
or not, or just friends or whatever. Yes, I pump my own gas. Yes, many a day, and I think part of it is they don't want to pay for the gas. So what happens
awkward because it's awkward.
So here's the dynamic: I'm driving the vehicle.
Yeah, that's another problem. First of all,
that's the problem. So I'm about to fuck it up. I'm about to fuck our heads up real fast. I'm driving the vehicle. I'm like, oh, I need gas. Pull over, get the gas. The gas tank is on my side, left side, boom, boom. I'm closest to it. I put the car in park. And then there's this awkward moment of, if he gets out, does he have to pay for it?
No.
Or do I just pass him the card and say, get this for me?
You put $30 in it. $35.
If I'm going to fucking pay, I don't even think, here's the thing. I don't even think they need to get out and pump the gas. I've never even thought to pass them a card. Anytime I've had, I want to say 2 men pump the gas for me. And anytime they did it, it was like, it was like this awkward thing of, well, let me give you the card. Let me figure it out, because I never even assumed that they would do it. I never even thought that they needed to, because it's my car.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other thing about it. Is it sad? Because everybody was like, they were clowning me. Or am I just living in a world where I'm really crushing these gender norms and allowing men to be human beings instead of quote unquote men where they have to do certain things? Or am I just,
do you feel like you're portraying yourself? Do you feel like you're portraying yourself? When you
really do.
You're living your best fucking life. Go ahead, ride around and get it.
But
get out there in the cold, pump the gas, put it at your card.
No, I would be remiss not to take in all of the feedback that I've been receiving around this.
If you haven't felt no kind of
way,
but
is it because I don't think I'm worthy of someone pumping my gas or even paying for it? I don't know. Why do men have to pump the gas? What are the things in dating in this heteronormative world.
I don't want a man pumping my gas. And I don't mind a man paying for it. Excuse me, I'm fucked up. I don't mind him if I'm dating someone. All right. This is dating. This is like month 1, month 2, month 3.
Okay.
No, I don't want you paying for my gas. It's cool for you to like, let me give it to you. Like, let me pump your gas. All right, sure. Can you put $35, $40 in it? Boom. He did it. I feel good. I don't have to step out. Especially if we're driving around. You pass him
the card.
Yeah, or he'll reach, or he'll already get up to go, and I'm already like, take my card. Here's $30, whatever the amount is. But if we're in a relationship, and he's like, yo, and he gets it. We're like riding around together. We're going places. He's like in my life in a particular way. Yeah, I'm gonna let him pay for it. I'm not going to expect it, but I would feel more open to it. In a relationship versus dating. Dating, I don't know, that feels strange to me. I don't want you to pay for my gas. You can pay for food, you can pay for drinks, but you don't need to pay for my gas. You can. The
gas feels like this is an expense. Like,
this is my expense. Yeah. This is my expense. You're not.
We're gonna get eaten up for this. I'm telling you. What are some of the things? Because this is where my head went immediately. I'm like, yo, we talk out both sides of our mouth. We are always like, men, we need to, because all week I've been talking about masculinity when it comes to the Jonathan Majors thing, which was, mad people wrote us too. They wrote us calling out Jonathan Majors' Essence cover because I guess his lips are pursed a little bit, and they're like basically trying to imply that he looks gay, which is like, okay, what, like, why does he look gay? Because he has pink? Like, what is the deal? What is this policing of masculinity? So I've been having these conversations around women policing masculinity and men, people, just policing it and saying, this is what it is, this is what it isn't. You have to do X in order to be a man. And apparently you have to pump gas in order to be a man. So I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily agree with that. But what are the things in my world that I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that because you have a penis? Because there are things. And is that fair?
Getting groceries, taking out the trash sometimes.
Wait, getting groceries? What do you mean?
Taking the groceries from the car, like the lifting of the groceries up and down the car, bags up and down the car, shoveling snow without a fucking doubt.
Really?
Just things that require heavy lifting. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be resentful if you got me out here. Like, if we're taking bags up together, that's one thing. But I just melt me, like, don't worry about it. I'll get the bags. Go upstairs. What? Oh my God.
So then what are the things, and I'm not saying I disagree. What are the things that you feel like as a woman that should be expected of you because you're a woman? Because it goes both ways, baby. Because if a man tells me, oh, well, you got to cook, I'm be like, do you know what decade it is? Quick. And I still might want to cook for you, but don't be telling me that's what I have to do now.
I don't know. I think there's a level of emotional consideration and physical, like, excitement and
what the hell is physical excitement?
I don't know. I feel like there's like an emotional, like, excitement about seeing your man, or when you're around him, that I feel I don't know. It's definitely not cooking. It feels like it's something that feels.
But aren't we asking men to show up in that emotional way too? So that's not specific to women anymore. If we're going to have, that's my point. If we're going to have these gender norms, it's got to go both ways.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying that the men can't, that men shouldn't be emotional and that they can get away with being shut down. But I don't know.
What are the basic offerings that women should be offering because we're women? That men should be able to say, oh no, that makes me melt. She should absolutely do that. We cringe at the thought of that.
I think it's something I think it's like an emotional kind of coddling, even, or like a rubbing of the head, or come on my lap, or like, I don't know, like a holding.
Those are all things I want from men too.
I'm not saying, and I would, are you saying it's exclusively just for that gender? Men are only supposed to take the bags up? Because I don't think that's true. But if there's something
But the expectation is that for you. I'm not arguing. I'm literally asking because I'm like, I'm trying to understand.
No, I don't expect nothing, and that's my problem. But I don't expect anything. I don't expect anything. That's not true. That's not true. I take that back. I'm stepping back. I would be really resentful if it's snowing and I'm out here like, you don't jump up and say, yo, let me quick shovel the snow for you. We're getting bags of groceries. You're not taking the groceries up. That's just a physical.
But why are we both doing it?
We both can, but
okay.
I don't feel like I am set back 1,000 years or putting him in this place like this is what men have to do. If he takes the
no, I'm not suggesting. I'm not suggesting that. I think what I'm saying or what I'm questioning is because when I think if I'm being completely honest, there are things like I don't have a man. When the shit fucking snows out here, I gotta go outside and fucking shovel. And every man that walks by is like, "Damn, your man ain't out here shoveling for you." And I'm like, "I don't have one. Shut up." So, but I think to myself like, if I did, I would think that I don't know because in my mind I always think, well, what is expected of me then? What do you innately expect of me because I'm a woman? And is that fair either way? Because I just feel like we're much more sensitive to what is expected of women, and women are like, nope, I'm independent, I'm this, I'm that, but like this is not the 1920s, the 1940s, like.
I don't know how to say it, but I think there's a softness. There's like an openness and a softness that I think men expect from women that I don't think is crazy to expect. I don't think it's puts women down.
In the same respect, do you think that we expect a certain? Because I'm not speaking about emotional things right now. I think I'm speaking more about like acts of service. Like, what are the acts of service? So I'm trying to clarify, like, because, we can say, I think that men expect a certain softness, a care, tenderness from women, a kind of nurturing approach. But I also think that women, when it comes to emotions, expect a certain security, a certain safety from men, like, a certain power from men that is also not an act of service. So I'm saying when it comes to acts of service specifically, what are those things? Because I feel like there's still very much, I don't know, I feel like we've left men in the gender norms, and women have graduated from them of like, no, you should still be doing that, but I damn sure am not going to be in the kitchen. And we have, like, those norms existed because of the way nuclear families were set up, right? That makes sense. Men work, women stayed at home, and I think a big part of that was that, women couldn't buy a house without having a husband or having the husband's, or get a loan, without him, So that is very much a factor. I don't want to take that into consideration. I think that's where I get hung up in the, should
what is the counter? What is the one female counterpart to bring the groceries up?
What is it? I don't know. I'd love to ask a man. Like, you should ask Rashid. Like, what do you expect of me? He probably be like, girl, nothing. Just be here. I don't know. Like, I genuinely
I would love for
that.
men to call in because I would really like to know. Like, damn, she ain't do that. What, she ain't do that?
Is it the reach over
I don't
open
feel
the
crazy
door?
For expecting him to take.
I know.
I would really love to know what men are like. Yo, she wildin'. She ain't.
I don't look at you crazy. I think that I'm gonna get backlash around like, girl, why don't you expect that? That's just care. But I'm also like, well, why does it look different for men and women? the act of service. And I think I'm hypersensitive to it as well. And I also didn't have any brothers and grew up with the dad who was like, girl, do it yourself. Ain't nobody gonna be around for you. So I'm used to, like, my job was to take out the trash. My job was to shovel the snow. You know, like, my job was to clean the toilet and shit like that. Like, that wasn't left to him. He was like, girl, I worked all day. Go clean that shit. Go do this. Go outside and rake the leaves. You know, like, that was what I did. And I was physically capable enough to do it. He was always that way. And if he would have had boys, he would have, when he did deal with my male cousins, he was always like, come here, we about to cook. This is a skill set you need to know. Come here, we about to do the laundry. Do you know how to do this? So he was always kind of combating those norms. So now I'm here and people are looking at me like, girl, you don't know what you're doing out here.
It should all be fucked with and shared. It should all be fucked with and it should be shared. But in terms of your physical capacity, yes, you can do that, Antoinette. Yes, you were raised to do that. But physically, I don't think that you should be taking your groceries up when you have a big 6-foot man that can take 6 up without it being a strain on his body the way that it is on your body. And yes, you can do it together, and you should do it together, and probably 9 times out of 10 you're doing it together. But for me, when it comes to that, like, the gas, I don't care about. But, like, physical things, like, bro, please. You have, if I had the strength to do it, I would do it for you, just because I have greater capacity in that way for you.
You realize I do that in our relationship, right?
What?
When you have heavy stuff, I go and grab it. If you have a suitcase or you have something, like, I've noticed
you
that.
You come and help.
Amanda's called me out on that, where she's like, you're not a man. And I'm like,
well, I don't look at it like that. Like, I just see, like, you need help with all your stuff. Like, it's help. I don't gender it. I don't think of it as a gender thing, and that it's just like
until
strength.
We're dating.
It's just
if we were dating, I'd be picking your groceries up, wouldn't I?
We'd be doing it together.
But I couldn't sit upstairs and do it. I would be the stud.
Well, because that ain't. Yeah, I don't know. But even if that's the case, I don't sit idly and just be like, expect it. Like, all right, I don't walk. If we have a thing of groceries, I'm not closing my door and going upstairs.
I understand.
Even with him, like, I don't do that. But
like, we have a friend that when she would pull up, he would say, call me when you get outside. And he's outside waiting.
Lovely. I love that. I love it. And I would love to know what men's counterpart of, like, she ain't got to do this, but the fact that she does this, I appreciate it. I love it.
Yeah.
And
they're going to be like, cook.
They'll be like, cook and clean and suck a little dick in the morning.
That's it. They're going to be like, sorry. That's what we want. Cook, clean, suck a little dick. We good. Reach over and open the door if they're driving. I do
It could be that.
Interesting. Well, are we continuing? Yeah, you got one on here I know you need to talk about, though. The cancellation.
Southside was canceled. HBO done canceled Southside after the 3rd season. They just posted on their Instagram. They did say, stay tuned in capital letters. So they said we grew so much as writers, producers, directors, and actors between season 1 and 3, and we're convinced the show has never lost one fan. We're proud of that. But don't give up hope, Southsiders. We are for sure taking a special show around the town to see if we can find a new home. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that's what Underground said, and they never brought it back either.
Let me tell you something. These niggas' names are Bashir Salahuddin, Diallo Riddle,
King,
and Sultan Salahuddin. You better
Sultan.
Yes,
I love
Sultan
it.
and Bashir.
Are those real people or they're characters or they're writers? I don't know. I'm asking.
They're real people. They're the creators of it.
I love it.
Bashir, Sultan, Salahuddin.
Let me tell you something. Somebody named Bashir better pump my motherfucking gas. I hate to say it.
Ooh.
I'm like, Bashir, get your ass out this car. It's cold. That's terrible.
Ain't that some real shit though? Sultan, you better... Shit. You better cook Sultan some goddamn breakfast. You know my fucking name? You know my first and last name? Sultan Salahuddin. It's the Salahuddin. I love that name. Shout out to them. We wish you all of the wonderful ones. We wish all paths to be clear. Yes. You got people that really fuck with y'all deeply and love the artwork that you create. So keep going.
Ashe. All right.
Bigger and better things.
Well, I don't know the name of this episode. It might be Bashir. Does Bashir pump gas? That's it. Does Bashir pump the gas? That's the name of this motherfucking episode.
Bashir better pump gas.
Is that it? I don't know. I'm
Bashir better pump gas.
How you spell Bashir? Bashir. I don't want to spell it right.
Bashir.
Bashir.
And me and Amanda were talking about how the spelling of Rashid's. There's two types of Rashids in the world. There's Rashid with a two E's and an I. And they're completely different people.
Completely different people.
A Rashid and a Rashid.
And wait, let me see. Rashida. And Rashidas. I know a double E Rashida and I know an I Rashida. Two different bitches. Hold up now.
Not at the Philly.
Man.
Shout out to Philly. Shout out to the Muslims in the black community making a way and listen.
And the non-Muslims
on their names.
Because we just be calling people Mustafa to say it. That's his name. That's the name I like.
Arabic names right there now.
Strong.
And them niggas be in Arab. They be in Arab. They be in Egypt with the same name.
In Arab. Log off. We're done.
In Egypt with the same names.
We the same, girl. We all Africans.
Rashida, Khadijah, Kadir, Quadir. We say Quadir. It's Kadir over there. I said, wow. So am I in North Philly or Egypt? All offended me.
Oh my God. That would have been another good name. Am I in North Philly or Egypt? But we ain't talking about it long enough. Oh God. All right, we're done. Log off. Y'all, this has been another episode of Around the Way Curls. Join us on Thursday for more hootenannies. Goodbye.
I love that word. She said hootenannies.
Yo, who is pumping the gas, B? It's tricky. Ain't that tricky? I want to know what a man...
I really want to know what the men's version is.
Ask Rashid. She said, I want to know what the men's version is. Bitch, ask your man. Be like, baby, what you think? What do you... You want to leave my voice note?
Rashid.
Are you going to leave him a voice note or no?
How to ask it. Questions that need answers. We're on a podcast talking, and we have come to the agreement that we have to gender men to take our groceries up and possibly pump our gas. Like, if a man does that, if you pull up and your man's already outside, like, all right, I'm going to get the groceries, that just melts our hearts, and that is a gender thing we don't want to lose. We want it. We like it. We accept it. I am going to help you take the groceries up, but if you got that, if you're going to run out, pick up snow, it just... But we don't know what those versions are for men, so can you tell us what is the equivalent of pumping gas and taking up groceries and shoveling snow for women? We just said sucking dick in the morning? Or...
break up with her.
Like morning sex?
Break up with her.
What is it? I'm so curious.
We did not only say sucking dick. Oh, God. Child. He gonna be like, yeah, that sounds about right, Johnny. Sucking dick. That's it. Suck dick. Maybe make some food. I can hear it right now. I think, clean up a little bit. If you see it messed up, you guys organize better than us. Oh, God. I don't know what we're going to do.
Hold me and rock me.
rock this. Anyway. All right, you ready? Yo, these hurt today.
It hurt me last week. They don't hurt me this week.
I can't hear you. All right. Do you have your 10 things?
I can't use this update. What am I gonna say?
What's your update? Time collapse? What the fuck is that?
I can't even begin. I'm gonna talk about it anyway. But,
I just talked about moleskin. Oh, where are my other headphones? Come on, Sheila.
But I know gotta find the damn thing.
Blue was so sweet. Did you see that picture I posted with her just kind of like holding my arm tenderly? That's because I was crying like a monkey. She was like, "Are you okay?"
She came up and touched you?
I woke up to her doing that. To holding my hand like that and being like, it was a lot what you were giving. I'm also on my period. Did I say that? Like first day.
Oh, yes, today's the first day?
Yesterday was like first day, but today is like full. That my blood is with me.
When I was talking to you and Amanda, it was my first day.
Can't trust it. I actually think that I have high functioning depression. I'm being dead serious about that. I think I'm high functioning, but depressed.
I think so. I think I'm the same way, and I need to see a therapist, actually.
I just said to Black last night, I said, I think I need to go to therapy. And he, for the first time, did not say, no, you don't. He was like...
You were crying hysterically.
He was like...
That's what he said?
He just listened. When he got me to calm down, he was like... I couldn't even hear him. Couldn't hear him. I couldn't hear.
What sent you over the edge?
He was explaining to me. Somebody had said like something about the podcast and how we talked about how he got me to sing and open up, and they were like, "That sounds like you, tough love." Da, 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 da. And so he was explaining like he didn't want to be somebody in my life that was pushing me to do things I genuinely don't want to do, because sometimes people have talent and they're like, I've done it, I didn't enjoy it, I don't like it. But the way he started this combo was like, it sounded like it was going to be something else, and I lost it. I was already on the verge of tears laying in the bed, but I just was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I hate this fucking podcast, because I told you that somebody else somebody else got mad about some shit I said on here, right? I told you that. You just don't remember.
No. About what?
About game night.
Oh, him.
Yeah, he got mad. Mm-hmm. He got mad about that, and so he won't speak to me anymore. So I was just like, oh, listen. I done said something else on the podcast that's ruining a relationship. Fuck. And I just lost it. It wasn't about him.
Did Black listen to the podcast and didn't like the description of, was prickled by the idea that he felt like he bent your arm to make you sing?
I think a little bit. I think he was. I think he didn't like, I think he felt like, is that how you saw it? And then I was like, and maybe he's projecting onto me. Mm-hmm. And he was like, the fuck? Girl, I don't want to do this shit. I've done it. I don't want to do it. I actually renounced it. But you want to do it. It's in you. Mm-hmm. Which is true. So, anyway, he's so patient and kind with my crazy ass. And just be talking me off the ledge almost every other day.
Ain't that a blessing?
I don't know what I did to deserve that kind of friend, that little monk of a man. But he was looking at me like I was clinically insane. Anyway. Alright, you ready? Child, I'm gonna have to cut that stuff
How
out.
am I going to say this